All right, you guys, we are just going to kick this off. I know everyone is busy, 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 busy. We want to respect your time. But my name is Micah Folsom. I'm one of the Faster Way coaches. That's a sister coach with anyone that you have on here. And we are so lucky and so excited to have Dr. Tracey Fletes on with us today. I'm actually just going to have her intro herself because she has some awesome credentials that will perk your ears and make you listen. But she's an incredible resource, you guys. And so we're going to be diving in today all about intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting, which y'all know is one of the core strategies with the faster way. And it is so effective. And the more that we understand the science behind why it's beneficial and how it's going to help your results, help your longevity, help all of those things that we care about, the easier it is to really build it into our lifestyle. And that was 100 for me because I had dabbled with intermittent fasting years ago and it didn't stick. And the reasoning that I'm like, oh, duh, is because I didn't truly understand why I was doing it. I was just doing it because so and so said it worked for her, and I didn't understand the depth of how impactful it was. Okay, so we're super excited. We're gonna keep this like right
on this meeting, so let's.
on. We're not gonna go over the 30-minute mark, so we're gonna keep it tight. But if we do have any time at the end, once Tracey's done, we'll open it up for Q&A. All right. So Tracey, tell us a little bit about who you are, your background, and then dive right into all the goodness.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Can you guys hear me? Yes. I actually put it together for you, Mike, and I thought I sent it, but I sent it to myself instead. Talking about myself is not the easiest thing, so I'll just make it brief. I've been in the fitness industry for 43 years, from an aerobic instructor to now a board certified holistic doctor. And I am board certified holistic doctor, board certified FNTP, a corrective exercise specialist, master's in sports medicine. And I am now so excited to be a local advocate working with MAHA, Making America Healthy Again. That is the absolute, that's an answer to prayer. And I do specialize in hormones, diabetes, and 100% still today, to this day, of Stephen, I love fitness as much as I did, wellness as much as I did almost 43 years ago. But my belief system is this: we do what we can to live health, and I believe that God heals. Let God do what he does if we actually do what we do. So I'm a woman of faith as well too, and been married for 37 years. So let's dive into this whole thing, intermittent fasting. And I promise I will keep it to our allotted time because sometimes I can be very long-winded because I love intermittent fasting. I've been intermittent fasting now for 30 years. In February, it will be 31 years. How do I know that? Because my youngest child, my son, I began intermittent fasting actually after I had my son 30 years ago, and he'll be 31. So that's how it happened for me. But I've been in fitness for a long time. And before that, being in fitness, I was that typical personal trainer, instructor, teaching 15 classes a week, training everyone, but seeing, as the trainer, seeing nothing happen within my body at all. And knowing then, and just kind of stumbling upon, I met with another specialist a long time ago and introduced me to intermittent fasting at this time, and just kind of tiptoed kind of into it. And let me tell you what happened, just a personal for myself, is I found when I started intermittent fasting and really put the science behind it and really began with it, within 3 months, I was always carrying around, this extended weight. And I was typically always a size 10 to 12 within clothing. And in my family, I saw lots of disease, diabetes, lots of it within my family. So when I really dove deep into it, within 3 months, my body and my life changed. And I took it very seriously. And this is where then my education, I went from a size 10 to 12 down to a size 2, 4, and I've never returned after this many years. And it still is my life. And long term, it's gotten better. And so I then began education of how intermittent fasting, short term, medium, and long term, how it actually benefits all of the hormones and how it heals the body. So we're gonna dive into that. So that's just a quick little testimony about myself. But I want to explain first you know, you all, I'm not going to get into all of what intermittent fasting is because Faster Way has done a great job of that. I want to get into a little bit more of the science of why to continue. Because most people, just what Micah said, they get into intermittent fasting because their friend did it or they think it's a diet. It's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. It is a lifestyle, okay? And if we promote it that way, if we actually think about it that way as a lifestyle, it will do its job. It's not something where you just say, okay, I'm going to do this fasting and I'm going to just eat whatever I want. Well, that's not, that's a diet culture and we want the science behind it. Okay. So everything, if you all, and I know people on here are could be brand new all the way into our VIPs, and you want advancement of knowing that how to keep going. And let's talk about cellular repair, metabolic, as well as two of my specialties is the leptin hormone and the ghrelin hormone. Okay, I'm gonna put my glasses on and off just a little bit. Okay, all right. So we have been introduced with faster way of doing. You may be doing anywhere from 12 to 12 to 16-8 within fasting. Okay, and that's absolutely wonderful. But if you want to stretch that muscle just a bit, and actually your sweet spot is 16-8. It really is getting to that 16-8. Okay, and there's some reasoning behind getting that.
Did she freeze? Okay, I thought it was mine. Hold on, we'll see when she comes back. Tracey, you gotta love Zoom. Okay, whenever she comes back, if you guys have any questions specifically around intermittent fasting, post them in the chat so that when she comes back and when we get, oh, she got kicked off, so she'll get back on. When she comes back, we can make sure we have time to bust those out. She's probably freaking out right now. I'll share a couple things really quickly because some of my clients struggle with the fact that, okay, Ali just asked what fasting window do you all do? So put it in the chat what you all do. This is something that I was going to talk about because at the beginning I got really hung up on like I have to do a specific window. And what I realized was that changed almost on a daily basis based off of what my kids had that night, when JD got home from work, because we really try and prioritize family dinner. Sometimes that's earlier before sports, sometimes it's later. And so I love that we have the flexibility to go, okay, I'm done eating at 4 today. I got to start eating earlier tomorrow. Or I'm not done eating till 9:30 p.m. I just get to extend my window and I don't start eating till later tomorrow. So get that in your head too. Like it doesn't have to be 7 to 11 or whatever every single day. I love that if we really want to build this into our lifestyle and make it stick, we've got to have the flex in there and understand we need to make this work with our life, right? So if you guys have any specific advice or questions around that, y'all can like unmute and share until she comes back. But that's something that really helped me because I was very fixated on it has to be the same. And then I would be annoyed that like, oh, JD's not home. So now I have to push it back and then blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, what am I even doing? It doesn't have to be that. Like I can make this work with our life. Oh, she's back. So there's that. Just kind of a mindset switch that I had to embrace. All right.
I do not know what happened at all. I don't.
You're
So
good.
I'm on my phone. I'm on my phone.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. So I was talking a little bit about autophagy and ketosis. Okay. So autophagy Autophagy is basically is self-cleaning. When you get your body to a place where it's self-cleaning on a regular basis. It is okay to enter into ketosis, but it's something like people, took intermittent fasting and they came up with this keto diet, which is absolutely wrong. But entering into ketosis is good, but you don't want to live there forever. It's a way to go in and actually help with metabolic benefits and inflammation in the body. Okay. All right. So let's actually know that so autophagy is good. It helps to deplete glycogen into the body. And this is why Faster Way has done a great job of, that of talking about intermittent fasting. But let's talk about going into leptin and ghrelin. All right, I want you all to know this, that 60% of your glycogen stores are burned off while you are sleeping. And this is why it's so important how you go into your fast and how you break your fast. So everything is in nutrition within Faster Way of breaking your fast with protein and fats and healthy carbs, and going into your fast, the same thing with that. 60% of your glycogen is burned off while you're sleeping. So when people wake up the next day, their glycogen stores should be at its lowest point, but what's at the highest point is your leptin hormone. And most people don't even know what the leptin hormone is. These are your hunger hormones. One signals to you actually when you're full, and one signals to you when you actually is to feed your body. So when people wake up in the morning time, and this is where the world has gotten it wrong, is when you wake up and instead of thinking that I need to feed, no, we need to work up an appetite. And typically between 7 and 9 a.m. is when your leptin hormone is at its highest peak. And instead of actually feeding it, you want, just like wearing a bicep, you want to grow that muscle by not feeding it just yet. In the morning time that after a while, when your stomach, people start to actually, their stomach is growling and they think that that is hunger pains. It's not. That's your leptin hormone. So if you leave that leptin hormone a little bit longer, and then after it goes stronger into it, you're increasing that muscle more and more. If you can go at least 2 hours and then longer and start fasting, you're increasing that leptin hormone. Then your leptin hormone literally kicks on, and when you begin to eat, it literally at this point will start saying, "Okay, I'm full." Your leptin hormone actually tells you when your body is actually full, whereas the ghrelin hormone actually is ready to feed. So, for instance, if I go, I can increase that leptin hormone within myself. And then when it's actually time, actually finally for me, close to noontime, I will then start to feel my ghrelin kick in and say, oh, it's time to feed. And then when it's actually, I start to feed, then the leptin hormone will kick in and say, I'm full. So in America, most people, because their glucose is so high and their metabolic benefits is so low, their insulin sensitivity, and they have increased blood sugar, the leptin and ghrelin hormone never does kick in. And this is where also to cellular repair comes in with autophagy. The longer we can actually stay and using that ghrelin. So the ghrelin and leptin hormone really wasn't discovered in science until the 1990s. And this is why very, very much you don't hear people talk about it a lot. But I tell people a lot in the morning, oh, I'm feeling a little bit nauseous. Well, just if you can go a little bit longer, eventually when you do break your fast, that ghrelin hormone will say, oh, it really is time for me to feed. When you're getting to that place where, oh, I feel the hunger, it's time for me to feed. Okay. And then once you do begin to eat, the leptin will kick in and say, I'm full. In America, people do not have the know when the body does kick that on and when it actually kicks it off. Okay. And so when you do wake up and your insulin should be very, very low, which should be around 80 milligrams. Most people do not wake up this way. But the longer that we continuously intermittent fast, this is where healing in the body does absolutely happen. Okay. So, when you are working within the leptin and ghrelin hormone, what happens to the rest of the hormones in the body? You're managing the rest of the hormones. Everything from the cortisol, everything to all the rest of the hormones in the body. You're managing them rather than saying, oh, I'm afraid of them. I need to get rid of them. Listen, ladies, your hormones, it's just like children. children need rules, and they want to be managed, and we can manage them through intermittent fasting. So I want you to think about it this way, is that when your hormones are to be on a regular schedule. Okay. At my age, through intermittent fasting, I really did not have difficulty, did not have night sweats, mood swings with perimenopause, and even now going through menopause. The longer that you're intermittent fast and the longer that you stay and increase, those hormones are going to manage itself. Okay. For instance, when you fast, let's say if your schedule is 16/8, this is a problem that many people do when they begin intermittent fast. They just have these windows that's just all over the place. Even if it is 16/8, you want to manage your time. For instance, I go into my fast 6 o'clock in the evening. I break my fast at 12 o'clock. And sometimes, now that is 95% of the time, but life does happen. So let's say if you're vacationing, or let's just say you have an event and you're a little bit farther out of your window. Let's say you eat at 6:30, or even if you have to on one night, it was pushed to 7 o'clock. And so what happens is the next day, people will have a tend to, oh, okay, well, I still have to do my 16 hours, so I'm going to go much, much longer. No, what you're doing is you're kicking your hormones out of whack, and you're taking them out of their schedule. Your hormones want to stay on schedule. So no matter what, if I break my fast at 11 a.m., even if it is 16, break your fast at your normal time, because it wants to stay regular. This keeps your hormones balanced. This keeps your cortisol balanced. This keeps your leptin hormone balanced, because it's your body knows it's on a schedule and it wants to. So if I mistakenly went a little bit longer, that doesn't mean for me to go longer in the evening. No, go back into the fast at your same time. Your metabolic benefits, as in glucose, will continue to drop once you continuously do that. Okay.
Wait, Tracy,
So
I want
yeah,
to interrupt you and ask you, because this is new for me. I was literally just sharing when you were off that I do that. Like, this is what I do because our nights are so out of whack. So you're saying it's more beneficial to shorten your window and eat at a consistent time in the morning than it is.
absolutely. All the
Awesome.
time.
Okay, this is great to know. Awesome.
All the time. So
Okay.
ladies who have issues with, let's say you have problems with cramps, menstrual cramps, perimenopause and menopause, those hormones want to be regulated. And so this is why doctors put people on pills to tell them, to kind of regulate them. But the power is in your hands. The 100%, the power is in your hands. And you won't have to go through, getting on birth control pills, which is the worst thing ever to do. Birth control pills. So yes, stay within your window. Now, is it okay? Is it okay to shift and change your window? Yes. Over the period of 30 years, my window has changed. It's always 16/8, but it depends on the time of life that you're going through. There are times where I've had to switch from, I started fasting at 10 a.m. Well, now what works for me is 12. That is when you have to increase the muscle, and you may find that that it changes, it has to change. But when you change your window, stick to it and go long term with it until there's another time to actually change. And this actually helps with your menstrual cycle as well. When you're going through each phasing of one of the reasons why women have problems when they go on the menstrual cycle and they have all the different cravings is because their hormones are all over the place. But when you manage a hormone and tell your hormones, nope, I'm breaking my fast at 11 a.m., that will kick in. Remember, the hunger hormones, and they're going to kick in the leptin, and your cortisol is going to manage yourself. So when you are, oh, I'm gonna change it. Oh, as long as I'm doing my 16 hours. No, we need to keep it at a regular time. Finding out what works for you and grow with it. Okay. Now, this is important to cycles. while you're actually going through cycles and cramping, you're going to find that the glucose and the glycogen is going to help everything from your pals. We talked about this last night on my call. Your pals, your pals from blood sugar. It happens to be is your 5 organs: your pancreas, your liver, and your skeletal muscle. So this is the glucose goes to the brain first. This is where Alzheimer's, dementia, autism, the blood glucose goes here first. With an intermittent fasting, when we stop and we actually put the brakes and we allow the body to rest at nighttime, everything goes to the brain first, and then your brain stimulates to go out to the rest of the body, the pals, the 5 pals, the organs that actually shift the work within the hormones with intermittent fasting. Your pancreas, which is actually happening everything in the pancreas, and all of those hormones. There's so many hormones in there. I can't get into all those hormones, but all of those hormones from your endocrine system, your exocrine system, is impacted, and it drains out the glucose. If we have too much glucose from the brain, it's going to go to the rest of the body. But when you relax that body for a period of 16 hours, 60% of that burns off while you're sleeping. And then when you wake up and you break that fast with some type of protein and fats in the body, you're going to elevate, you're normalizing your blood glucose. And when you normalize blood glucose in the body, then all of your metabolic as well as your hormones start to balance itself. Okay. Now, once a month, Fast Away does a 24-hour fast. I am all for it. All for it. Okay. I'm so glad. So, all right. So 24-hour fast. Now, listen, intermittent fasting has to become something where it's your life. So when you do a 16-8, here's a couple of things that goes along with it. We activate autophagy. It does promote fat loss, but I don't like to say that because I don't want people to think this is the reason why you're fasting. Metabolic health. Metabolic health in the wellness industry as well as in the medical industry is a new word. Metabolic health basically means people have so many different hormone disruptors in the body that they gave it this name, metabolic health. Your metabolism is all over. Okay. So intermittent fasting actually does take your metabolic health and improves your metabolic health. But especially when you do a 24-hour fast, a 24-hour fast once a month. Sometimes I have certain clients, I have them do it every week, a 24-hour fast, because it does also to help metabolic health, does reverse a metabolic fast. It does reverse things like type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's and dementia, those things. Okay. So it improves that, better blood sugar regulation and improved metabolic flexibility. Okay. And third thing is when it comes to doing a 24 to 36-hour fast is reduces inflammation. You all have heard it said all over that your body can't heal if you have extended inflammation in the body. Intermittent fasting gets to the cellular level of releasing inflammation out the body the longer you fast. Okay, so longer fast means this. It has to be part of your life, that many times you cannot get metabolic healing in your body because there's so much inflammation that's blocking it. So how do you get rid of inflammation? It's continuously fast all the time. Stay regular with it. Do it all the time and fasting. But then some people have a little bit more hormone disruptors, hormone things going on that you need a 24 to 36-hour fast that's going to get deep to the cellular level. Okay. And that does happen. Okay. So it decreases inflammation by reducing pro-inflammatory markers within the body. Okay. And what happens then is this: it contributes and helps with longevity in the body. Longevity, as in, I've worked with people. I'm working with some clients right now that have Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's disease, diabetes does with intermittent fasting over time, it can reverse, but it does start also too with a foundation of food, intermittent fasting, and it absolutely does reverse that. I can take a breath for a moment if we have a question or two. Am I good?
You're great. There were a few questions that came through, so I'll just ask you those. We'll power them so you don't have to worry about looking at them.
Okay.
Becca said, I'd love to hear Tracey talk about, and we only have like 4 minutes left, so we gotta hustle. insulin and digestive rest, you kind of talked about this, how intermittent fasting helps heal our bodies and the role insulin plays. Yeah.
Insulin is major when it comes to intermittent fasting. It's major. Remember that your insulin can, when you have too much, we all have, every one of us, the way God made us, we all have 4 grams of glucose in our body. 4 grams of glucose in the body. When you think about think about a sugar cube. One sugar cube is what's floating throughout your body. But when it comes to poor food, when it comes to increased sugar in that you're eating, when it comes to processed foods, and people have, remember, in your liver, we can hold up to 100 grams of extra sugar. When it comes to inside of our muscles, we can hold over 400 grams. But when your body, I've mentioned the pals, when your body has so much insulin into it, it goes into the pancreas and releases. And when it gets too much, think about when Jesus went to was born, there's no more room in the end. That's why I like to give it. So in your pancreas, when there's no more room in the pancreas, it flushes out to the rest of the pals. Okay. Glucose in, and when there's too much, it flows out to the rest of the body. But the beautiful thing with fasting is, this is so important. It's so very, very easy. Resting the body. So of course your diet needs to be so much better, but insulin reduces when you're intermittent fasting, and that we all have this normal pattern of following the blood sugar. But 57% of Americans today live in an emergency state of um, uh, blood sugar regulation. And the best way to actually get out of that is, you don't want your pals. You don't want all of these organs, all of the sugar goes from here and it goes out to the rest of the body. So just by absolutely just increasing the protein, just making sure that going how you're fasting, and 16-8, it actually does insulin. So it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Remember, this is that insulin sensitivity is a problem when it actually comes with the type of food and not actually rest in the body. So it makes no sense that if someone has insulin resistance, insulin sensitivity, type 2 diabetes, they do produce insulin, but their bodies are producing. It makes no sense to give them medications as a metformin, because you're giving them more insulin. And this is why medication when someone's type 2 diabetic, it makes no sense to give them insulin, and they're never going to recover. They're never going to recover, but it is a dietary issue. And so changing the food, as well as changing how you eat, the times that you eat consistently, will absolutely reduce the insulin that's actually being produced inside the body.
Amazing. Okay, last question, super quick. Can you talk about certain times in our cycle, like the first 2 weeks, she's heard it's okay to fast longer. The week before, you could maybe shorten it. Is there a cadence that we need to be mindful of if we're cycling still?
Yeah. And when it comes to like your cycling the first 2 weeks, and if the same thing absolutely does apply, is that what you're gonna find is that things, as in your magnesium might be a little bit low, and your selenium might be a little bit low your first 2 weeks, and this is where kind of like the cramping comes in within the body. But you want to continue doing the same, all over. You want the same type of fasting. But what you also want to do is, it's the type of foods that you actually are eating. So increase the first 2 weeks, increase the selenium. Make sure you're having enough magnesium those 2 days, because those 2 weeks is going to cause you to crave so much more. So here's what I tell many of my ladies: eat 2 Brazil nuts every single day. 2 Brazil nuts is your selenium. Sometime away, you don't have to take all the pills, but you also too need to make sure on the first 2 weeks in your cycle I tell them, increase your magnesium, 2 in the morning and 4 before going to bed, increasing it during that time, so that but keep your fasting absolutely the same. Your fasting when it should be absolutely the same.
Amazing. Okay. What was the pancreas, adrenals, liver? What was the S for the pals?
Skeletal muscle.
Skeletal muscle. Okay, perfect.
So it's 2 A's: adipose tissue and your
Oh,
adrenals.
there you go. Gotcha.
Pancreas, adipose, adrenals, liver, and skeletal muscle.
Okay, awesome. All right. Did I hit all the questions? We did it. Even with our little glitch, we got it done. Okay. You guys, if you think of anything else, if you're watching the replay and you think of anything else, shoot them to your coach and we can shoot them to Dr. Tracey and we can get answers. I love that you talked about keep consistent, shorten the window. I'm like, okay, learn something new, obviously. So this was so good. Thank you so much for taking time to be with us. You guys, hopefully this was helpful so that you can continue to build your consistency and find your rhythm with all of this. There's just so much power in this lifestyle. And I love that it's one of the core things that we focus on with the faster way. So keep rocking it, ladies. And once again, Tracey, thank you so much. All right, we'll see you guys next month. Bye.